What's going on?
I can feel the blood creeping up from the heathens. Got will, got fight, got pride, got reason. If they wanna go eat, then you know I'm gon' feed them. If you're coming for me, hope you're ready for a demon. I got eyes in the back of my head, I'm seeing. Take me for granted and you know I'm leaving. I'ma take what's mine with the webs I'm weaving. I could take this crowd from seeing to believing. Got a taste for blood and my tongue keeps bleeding. From the words I spit, so sharp, so freezing. So cold, behold, frostbite they feeling. I could tear you apart or I could go heal them. Don't believe in fate, don't believe in ceilings. I just need a taste and my mind starts feeling. I don't pace myself, I grind on kneeling. Got lust for change, I just love the feeling. I ain't gonna give up. Got too little time, I'ma live up. Head down, push forward through the tough times. Cause anything worth doing is a tough climb. And I ain't gonna give up. Got too little time, I'ma live up. Head down, push forward through the tough times. Cause anything worth doing is a tough climb. Cause I'ma live life for the fight, yeah, I'm here to get it. I got drive, got sight, always have a vision. I don't lie at night, I be in my feelings. I'ma be fine, need time, and I'll still be winning. I live life for the fight, yeah, I'm here to get it. I got drive, got sight, always have a vision. I don't lie at night, I be in my feelings. I'ma be fine, need time, and I'll still be winning. I can feel the blood creeping up from the heathens. Got will, got fight, got pride, got reason. If they wanna go eat, then you know I'm gon' feed them. If you're coming for me, hope you're ready for a demon. I can feel the blood creeping up from the heathens. Got will, got fight, got pride, got reason. If you wanna go eat, then you know I'm gon' feed them. If you're coming for me, hope you're ready for a demon.
Hola. Hola.
Is there a sporting event or something happening tonight?
There was something going on.
I didn't even pay attention to it.
It's only happening. It's kind of tilted in one side, though.
It is in the sense that we have nothing but female viewers in the chat at this point in time.
Oh, I know what it was. It was the Taylor Swift Invitational tonight.
Oh, I love golf. That's wonderful.
New Orleans.
Well, we're going to have a wonderful time this evening. Yeah, I have been to New Orleans, and let me tell you something. It is an insane place. So I can only imagine Mardi Gras or Super Bowl or anything. It's just one of those things that crowds. If you're agoraphobic, no, it's not going to work. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Dead Air Live and the Dead Air Full Spectrum channel. It is our Sunday night live show coming at you from Rhode Island and Florida. Mr. Ken DaCosta on screen, as well as myself, George Lopez, and join us for the next 2 hours under the umbrella of the topic of paranormal with phenomenal guests and discussions. And we thank you guys for joining us again tonight. And Ken, weather report from the Great White North. How are things up there?
Yeah, we got about 5 inches of snow last night. Everything is so pretty. And I didn't have to shovel, which is even nicer. But it was kind of a welcome storm in that regard. They cleaned up pretty good. So everybody up here in the Great White North, I hope that you still got power and you're watching us tonight.
You got 5 inches of snow and you didn't have to shovel. Was it Dawn's turn this time or what?
Yeah, I sent the wife out there. Right.
You're just not right. That's just not right. Dawn, there's still time. There's still time, love.
She can hear us. She can hear us. There's ears everywhere.
Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Also, the thumbs up, very important. It tells the algorithm, hey, I enjoyed it, and other people should enjoy it too. So it's just a quick reach down with your mouse, down just below the picture, and you hit that thumbs up. Also hit the reminder bell. That is always important because that lets you know, and we got some stuff coming up we're going to be talking about a little bit later on, what is coming on the channel. Most important for you guys, check that out. We are simulcast with kgradb.com/dead air. You also find us on Twitter, X, Global Radio Live. If you're listening to us on KGRI, you can find us on YouTube at Dead Air Nation. Our Facebook is Dead Air Full Spectrum. Our own Twitter is Dead_Spectrum. And Patreon, which we've been having a lot of fun. Something we can do there we can't really do on this platform, which is play. Oh, look, Taylor Swift is on the screen. What a surprise. But it is her invitational. You're right, Ken. So when you get a group of people together, like-minded individuals, such as what we have on our Patreon town hall, it's just a ball of laughs. And we had some good laughs last Monday too. And you guys can join. $3 membership is all it takes. And you're in with an exclusive club. And you can come with us on Town Hall on Monday, which is a live show. Everybody can either be on screen with us, or you can watch along and be in the chat from our YouTube extension. So you guys make sure you check it out. But we can play music. We can curse. Well, I don't curse. Ken does all the cursing. But, we can. Yeah, it's true. Am I wrong? So
I acknowledge that.
Yeah.
I start off good, like very genteel and everything, and then I'll get fired up, and it's usually, and then after that, it's.
But it makes for good entertainment, to say the least. But yeah, we have an opportunity right here to talk to paranormal royalty. I'm sure she's going to nail me for that one. Looking forward to this conversation. A return friend of ours and somebody who really has Ken's number. And you guys will find that out during the show tonight. But Ken, if you'd like to do the honors.
She literally has my number. So, but it's been a minute since we've had her here to talk at her. So our next guest spends many nights in dark, creepy places talking to ghosts. And somehow she keeps coming back for more. You've seen her on Ghost Hunters. You've seen her on Ghost Nation, braving haunted houses and investigating the unknown. So let's give a warm, decidedly non-paranormal welcome to the one and only Shari DeBenedetti. Yay!
Hi. Thank you so much. Thank you.
How do we talk to you, with a New York accent or a Boston accent? Which one's?
We lost it.
And we lost her just like that.
And that was show. That's our show for tonight.
That was a great interview too. I'm telling you what. Now back to the Super Bowl. Yeah, something's actually happened too. Funny enough, my Super Bowl froze up too. That's really bad. All right. If you don't want to be here, you just hit the button. That's fine.
We're off the air now. We just signed off. Everybody really enjoyed it.
I don't know what happened. It just completely shut off.
No, everybody really enjoyed that.
Did they? Must be the ghosts around here that I'm talking to right now. They don't appreciate it.
I said non-paranormal welcome. And
see, and then all of a sudden it went out.
This is the way she ghosts you, Ken. This is the way she ghosts you.
Yeah.
I know.
The accents. People are saying, the accents. Yeah. You know what? I still have a little bit of both. Like Boston accent, they don't have the R's, but New York has our R's in it. So I'm still New York. Every once in a while, I hear the Boston, but
when you get to those particular areas and around that accent, does it come out more?
I am a person who, if I'm with somebody, I'll pick up their accents. So yeah. So if I'm in New York, it's all. Ooh. Yeah, it's all that. If I go to the South, I'll pick up a Southern accent. Yeah.
So you tend to use that technique of mirroring.
Without realizing it. Yeah.
Body language, posture.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're in Boston currently?
I am just north of Salem. Everybody knows we're like Salem, Massachusetts.
Yeah.
The witches. Yeah. So everybody. So I'm right there. I live in Danvers, which was the old Salem village, and we cut ourselves off from Salem, and now we're Danvers, but that's where I live. It's about 15, 20 minutes north of Boston.
So you basically kind of decided that it's too crazy. The people in Salem are crazy. So we're going to start our own municipality and just say, we don't know who those people are.
We don't know who they are. No, but that's, I guess from what I hear, that's what they say, is like they don't want anything to do with that. So, and a lot of people who come into town, they don't realize that so there's like Danvers, Peabody, Beverly, like it used to all be Salem, and everything just kind of, we kind of all went our separate ways to stay out of Salem.
I think next door, actually, that's where it all happened. That's where Gallows Hill is. A lot of people think it's in Salem. It is actually not.
Danvers was, a lot of the stuff happened in Danvers. Most of the stuff. Yeah. Even in our backyard, we have like the Danvers River. And so it's also said that some people that were killed over in Salem, their bodies came up the river, and then they're all buried in Danvers, like the center, and other locations and stuff.
Was that a societal move, changing that area to a different name to disassociate from the heinous crimes that happened many, many centuries back? You again, they happened in your properties, but no, we're not Salem, so it kind of exonerates you from any fault.
I actually live on one of the witches' land. So, I mean, yeah, I'm in Danvers, but I'm living on, he's the George Jacobs. I probably shouldn't be telling everybody where I live, but yeah, so George Jacobs, he was I think he's about 80 years old.
Shari, we've been admonished. So we keep you in line a little bit here tonight, and go Eagles.
Yeah. Go
Jason,
Eagles.
there you go. Jason will be popping in, giving us score updates here.
Back to work, Jay. Go back
and
to
a
work.
review of the halftime show, Jay, if you'd be so kind. By the way, updated score 24.
Oh,
Eagles,
nice.
0 Kansas City.
That's
no
right.
one can keep her online. And apparently, when we first introduced her, nobody can keep her online either.
Right.
No.
No. See?
Let's begin the show, Mr. DaCosta.
Yeah.
Ask a question.
Oh, okay. What's the scariest place you would? No, we don't do that here. So in the experiences you have and in the description, it gives a lot of your background, things we've covered before. I mean, what I want to ask so many things, but just randomly, have you ever encountered a case seriously that you felt was truly dangerous? Not necessarily anything to do with taps, anything to do with ghost hunters, but just in your own investigations where it gave you a little bit of pause.
Honestly, no. I guess that's why when I hear people talking about demonic stuff all the time and things are so bad and all this other, it's very hard for me to believe that it's really that bad. Like doing this for all of these years. Bye, Jay. Bye, John. Bye, Jay. For all of these years that I've been investigating, and not just investigating, like the bigger locations and going out and having fun and everything. When I do home locations, I've been doing, again, this, since the 90s. No matter how bad they told me it was, there was always a reason for it. Yeah. There was always a good reason. There's always something that we can disprove or debunk or try to figure out family-wise, what's going on, personal-wise, with the I hate to say drugs, but like the drugs, alcohol, and all this other medical stuff that is going through. There's always a reason behind a lot of this going on. So I never thought once about demonic or something evil is in their house or somebody's attacking them. I'm not saying that that doesn't happen. I'm just saying out of my whole life of doing this, I've never thought about it being that way. Because I guess I always just assume that there's got to be some other type of answer. It's not going to be this demon or devil or whatever it is. There's got to be something. And eventually we figure it out. It might take some time to figure it out, but you know.
Yeah. We all start off in this, I think, questioning whether or not that there's something more. And then we say, well, let me go find out on my own. Let me go talk to some people. Let me visit these places. I think there comes a time, most of the time, where those questions get answered, right? There is some, we've had those experiences, the documentation. There is something more. So at that point, you know, I want you to tell me how you feel about that. But at that point, what is the biggest takeaway in the years that you've been doing it? Have you satisfied that part of your curiosity? And if you have, what keeps you going? What's the next thing?
As you know, when you're helping people at their location, home or business or whatever, you're doing an investigation, you know, and you don't stop until you are okay with it, until they're okay with it, until everybody's happy. You finalize it. You know, and of course, if anything comes up, obviously call us anytime and we'll come back and we'll help you out with this next issue or whatever it is.
Right.
But again, even if they tell me there's got to be something more, it's just demonic, because a lot of people just assume that everything is demonic. And you have to reassure them constantly, like it's not, you know, and kind of, you have to teach everybody, basically. Whenever you're going into location, you need to teach them on everything that you're going through so that they understand everything that we're going through, and where we're getting to our answer. I'm sorry, you did a two-part question, so I was kind of like going both. What was that second thing that you asked me?
No, I think you just answered it, because the idea that you've satisfied you maybe a lot of your own questions, not all of them, but
Right,
you know,
right,
because
right.
you've had these experiences, what's the next thing? And I think you answered that by, you know, making yourself available to people who may be going through. It's just kind of like, okay, I mean, there's still a lot more questions that we have to ask, but we're at least to the point we've satisfied ourselves that, yeah, not all the time, but there's something more.
Right.
So
And
what do I do with all this now?
Yeah. I mean, like our biggest concern, yeah, like when we go in, we want to teach the people, of course, all the debunking and disproving things and trying to figure like scientific stuff, you know, just call an electrician, call a plumber, call a pest control, like just, you know, like regular things that we would normally is regular, but not to people regular, you know, so you're just trying to teach them, don't just assume you hear scratching that it's a ghost scratching. Like, you know, like get somebody in there to see what's in the back of the walls, to see what's going on.
Right.
You being scratched, you know, people don't understand. You can scratch yourself in the middle of the night. Like it happens, you know, or if whatever you're wearing, your jewelry or whatever it is, your nails, things can happen. It's not automatically a spirit, you know?
Right.
Residual, you have to teach them about residual. Like they're not really there. It's the energy's there, but they're not really there. Nothing's going to hurt you or any of that. So a lot of it is teaching them, and you know, we're all still learning ourselves, and we're teaching each other, and we're learning from each other.
Yeah.
That should never end. I know some people are experts and they know everything, but there is no expert. Not everybody knows everything. We're all still just, you know, doing the same little checks everywhere we go. So yeah, so when we are okay with what we came up with what could be happening, we still have our phones ready and available. This is happening. Okay, well then we'll go in and try to figure out this. And
Mm.
whatever it is so that the person is comfortable. I always go back to when I was having my issues, which got me started into this whole thing. I wish that there was a person I could call. I wish that like somebody would come in and help me and try to figure out what is going on, or I need help getting this thing out of my house and all of that. It would be great. So when people ask me, I know some people are very scared. I know some people are very nervous. So, I mean, again, this is why I got into it. I know how it feels. I know how it feels not wanting to go into a house, my house. I know how it feels like. I don't want to every single night going into my room. I like anxiety every night. I'm like, I don't want to go in there. I don't want to go to sleep. So it's hard. It's difficult when you really actually have, like something going on.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I think that when we have people like yourself on, it's important to draw that distinction with people who are in the public eye, whether they've been on a TV show, and to cut through the curtain here that it's not like, well, I'm just going to, when I'm not traveling, I don't do anything else. I just sit around, wait for the phone to ring. They say we're filming and that's it. And there's nothing more as far as investigation
right,
that you do. And that's not necessarily true.
right.
Wanted to ask, when you are counseling people about something in their house, and this is all dependent on whether or not you can document anything or you can experience something, because a lot of times you can't expect to experience everything they have in a certain amount of hours. So sometimes it's multiple trips.
Yeah.
But when you do document something, whether it's audible or it's visual, whatever it is, how do you bring them down if the anxiety in them is, and that's coming across to you? You kind of pick that up from them. They're like, they're legitimately scared here. Maybe they got kids, who knows?
Mm.
But you talked a little bit about breaking down what it could be, but it's not like people are going to like move out of their house and things like that. So I want you to tell me a little bit about personal skills, being a people person, interpersonal skills, talking to people and trying to make sense out of things to them. And it's like, well, I suggest maybe you do ABC, whatever that is.
If you couldn't tell, I'm not like loud and obnoxious and everything. So, a lot of times when I talk, I try to, talk down here. And when I'm talking to them, I tell them about the things that I went through. And I give them some experiences that I've had when I've worked with other people and everything else. So I tell them all about, my life and my experiences and other people of who I helped and everything. Just from that, people start to kind of like relax, and then they start to listen. And then those conversations go into them telling me a little bit more about them and what they've experienced. And then, so that conversation kind of goes back and forth, and I actually get more information out of them because now, it relaxes them. We need to be open. I'll tell you all my stories. You tell me all your stories. I want to know everything.
We're not judging.
We don't judge. I don't, there's a lot of times where you have to talk to people and you need to know everything about them. Like, how often do you drink, or when do you do the drugs? I don't care. I don't care what you do. That is not my concern. But I need to know what it is so that I can try to figure out what may be the problem. Hey, your drinking might be the problem. I don't know, but I'm not a therapist either. Like, I'm here for I'm here for, if it's not paranormal, then you need to maybe go, have help somewhere else. That's not me.
Right.
But we do have that conversation, and I try to get whatever I can, but I also do tell them when people are asking me to do like I want to say diary because I can't think of another word,
Like a
but
journal.
yeah, like for like a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
I do the time, the day, I want to know exactly what happened, where it happened, who experienced it, what exactly did everybody experience. And so you can kind of get an idea of what goes on a regular basis, because
Mhm.
you know what, a lot of it is residual. A lot of it's residual,
Yeah.
so I mean, you can just all of a sudden, I'm sorry, I'm reading too, and I couldn't. But yeah, like, so I mean, you can just by talking to people, you can sort of figure out what the story is, So, so I mean, that's kind of like what I do first with them, and then of course, do the EMF, and all of that, and go into their house and try to figure out, with all their claims that they have, and again, still talk to them throughout the whole thing, because the whole purpose is just trying to help them and trying to make them calm down. And again, teaching them whatever we experience, whatever that we've learned throughout all the years, teach them. And so that they feel comfortable,
Right.
with it.
Yeah. And I think the journal's a great idea. It's something I always suggest because it's a funny thing. When you get everything written down in front of you, because I'm more of like a visual learner.
Yeah.
So if I'm seeing this and then all of a sudden these common things, oh, it happens only when this person's around,
Right.
and all of those things.
Right.
When you are talking to people, because this is something I'm sure you've heard a lot too. When they're telling you their story and you get a little background and somebody says, oh, the other place I lived at, that was active too. And then the house I grew up in, that was active too. There's like a little flag go off in your head. Like, I'm not necessarily saying that they're being deceptive, although
Right.
maybe they are. I mean, that's that's to be determined, but it's a question of people versus locations that are haunted, right?
Right. Right. I do think of that a lot, like wherever I go, it's haunted. And it's like, well, maybe it's you. Like, I mean, there's no, not to be rude, but it's like, well, maybe it's just somebody following you. Like, it could be, I don't know, maybe your grandparents are following you around. It's not like some demons following you around. And the attachment, people are constantly, oh, I get attachments from everywhere I go. And it's like, you know what? I honestly don't think that there's that many attachments as people are saying that there are, just like demons.
Right.
And yeah, attachments, I do believe in attachments, but the amount of people that just say everything gets attached to me, everything follows me, everything, and it's all of a sudden you're kind of like, you know what, it's all about you.
Yeah.
So then it's hard to help the people like that, because no matter what you say, you're going to be wrong. No matter
Right.
what, like if I say, no, it is not that, she or she, all of a sudden somebody popped into my head. No matter what, you're going to be wrong, because whatever's in their head, that's what's that's what's real to them. And, so you can't help people like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. This comes up once in a while because we have people from all over the country, whether, they're out in LA or wherever they are. And so I'll ask you point blank, do you think, as far as the paranormal and haunted locations, that we in New England are paranormal snobs? I mean, every state, every place in the world has haunted locations,
Yeah.
but from the outside looking in, these people like, oh man, you're so lucky to live there. It's so old and things like that. And you got to stop and think about it. Do you think that we're snobby about it, or you think we kind of take it for granted that this is just such a great place for what we do?
Boy, I I don't know. I guess in my head, I don't care how old anything is, because anything could be haunted. whether it's, like if it's just built or if it's 2000, anything could be haunted, or anything could have energy in it, I should say, or residual energy and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
there could be all of that. So I personally don't think of when people say that to me of, oh my God, New England, you guys have, and I'm like, yeah, I can understand you thinking that, but there's locations all over the place that are so much more haunted than, so I mean, and you know what? Everybody's haunted is different than others,
Yeah.
And I could go into a place and nothing happened. You can go into a place and, like the whole place is all being thrown all over the place. So your haunted experience was different than my haunted experience at a location.
Yeah.
So it's very difficult. The comparison things are very, it's hard. People, when they find out that I live in Salem, oh my God, that whole place is, and I'm like, no, I went into many places in Salem and there was just nothing. I'm not saying that it's not haunted. It's just when I go there, nothing happens. But then there are places there that I went to and it's haunted. So, there's a lot of activity. So I can't, I don't know.
I don't know. I just think it's more a case of where we are, where we happen to be. It has a long history of tragedy and turmoil and superstition Europeans brought over with them, whether it's vampirism or witchcraft or, whatever it is. It kind of landed here first before it started to travel,
I guess maybe because I don't this area, how difficult it is to get into locations because people around here don't like any of that stuff. So there's a handful of places that we can get into, but there's also a lot of places that, I'm not going to say names, but there's a lot of locations that I have called over many of the years and nope, there's no ghosts here. There's no paranormal stuff here. We don't allow that. So it could be, but I was never able to actually go there to legitimately say anything. And then the places that do say that they're haunted, it's like just because you live in Salem, it doesn't mean it, I don't know. It's hard for me to, I don't want to say anything bad either. So I'm like, trying to
Yeah, we're all dealing from the same deck here when it comes to not necessarily if we're invited, that's one thing. But every once in a while, we'll look at a place and say, I want to go check it out. I mean, there's no reason for it really, but, let's get everybody together and go check it out.
Yeah.
So a lot of times people, well, nothing's ever happened to me here. And so how open do you think you have to be to experience something? Because, I mean, we all know that there are people who are skeptics. They have an experience. They didn't believe in it beforehand. But if you're in a constant denial about it, how do you think that works? Are you shutting off some of your kind of subconscious mind to possibilities? And is it kind of, you think those kind of people, it's sort of almost like a filter. It could be happening right in front of them, but they're just wired. We're all wired differently.
Yeah. I mean, you have those skeptics out there that will not believe anything. You're dead, you're in the ground, or whatever. It is what it is. No matter what you say, no matter what they experience, no matter what you show them or anything, they're not going to believe in you at all. They don't believe in anything, so they're calling us liars. But they're not going to believe in it. And I always say, I don't care if you're a skeptic or not. Like, I don't care, but that's you. Again, no judgment. I don't really care. I'm not into this business for you to prove you anything. Like, I don't care if you believe it or not. I believe in it. I've experienced way too much to not believe in it. And again, I'm trying to help people. that do believe in it and trying to help them. So that's my thing. So skeptics, I kind of try to ignore it. The skeptic believers definitely are so much like me. I'm a skeptic believer.
Yeah.
It takes a lot for me to I guess get that final answer of, okay, there's something going on.
Yeah.
I don't care about like a knock or two or whatever. Like, I don't really care about any of that stuff, but it's just, if it's more of a constant thing, if we're getting these voices, if we're getting things, either ourselves hearing it or on videos or whatever it is, the more evidence I have, the better I obviously feel about it. But I will question everything that happens. And I will say, please do it again. Like knock 3 times. Okay. Knock 5 times, because I need the proof of it's not just knocking, or if it's not somebody just doing something from a phone or anything like that, So, I do need all of that.
Yeah.
People like my son, my kids have been investigating with me forever. He sees people, he hears people, he's experienced so much, but still to this day, he's like, I don't know if I believe in it. What? I don't understand. Like you see these people, like but he's still open to it, but he's
Right.
still like, well, I don't know. And I'm like, I don't even know, but so there's people like that too, but there's nothing you can do with skeptics, because they are just they're closed off, altogether. And I feel like even sometimes when they experience something, they think for a second, but then they just, nope. It's like, well, you just thought for a
Yeah.
second there. So isn't there like a little bit of maybe you might think that there's something?
There's a lot of gainsaying in it too, to gain like an intellectual advantage. I'm a little smarter than you, so it's like someone sends me a picture of an orb. I look at it and say it's dust. Somebody shows me a video of a chair moving. I probably tied fishing line on it.
Oh,
I mean, it's the easiest thing in the world to do.
yeah.
Is to look at something that you're not present for, haven't witnessed, haven't experienced, and just say, nah. So this is why I say, get out there, go and do that. I'll talk about the investigation process, right? There's about, I don't know, 5 or 6 different parts of an investigation. There's the interview, there's the setup, there's all of this. So part of that is communication. How much emphasis do you put in your investigations on trying to communicate with a spirit that's potentially out of place? And what's your go-to for that?
How much time?
Yeah, like do you spend a lot of, if you're there for, I don't know, if you're there for 5 hours, how much time, once you get past the interview and the walkthrough, how much time do you actually spend, whether it's with meters, recorders, whatever you use, to try to build that bridge?
I figure out what I want to use. Well, I'm always using recorders. I'm always using video. But for like other little gadgets that I might have, will depend on what they tell me what the claims are.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll depend on that. I mean, obviously recorders and doing video is, the first, what everybody should always have. But for like for all the gadgets, if it's a child, I try to bring all these, these different toys in. If they normally say, this baby keeps moving or whatever, well, obviously we'll use these things for trigger objects and put our little gadgets around it. So if they grab that, then those, at least we get some type of activity going on there. So of course, every investigation is going to be different. I do try to spend, obviously a few hours, but then, I can leave, we can go over everything, but then I will see what you're going to get. And then, you might have to go back. Like you said, I mean, maybe a couple of weeks of just, let's go back, let's try this again, a couple of hours here, a couple of hours there. because as you know, things will be different on one day than on the next day. There's many times, obviously not on the show, but what I like to do at home is have the people there. So the people that are experiencing these things, I like for them to be in on the investigation also. It's happening to them. It might not happen to me because maybe it's a family member or something. They don't want to talk to me. They want to talk to them, So like I try to bring them involved, which also helps them with the relaxing part,
It also helps you, because if you can get them engaged, you can control the noise and the environment,
Yeah. I mean, there's so many times where, like if we're doing the recorder and I'm like, all right, just, you can ask, just do like at the spurt, and so they'll ask questions and then they get the voices. It'll show them, because there's a lot of family members, I think there's probably more family members that I've ever talked to than anything else, like besides like previous people that used to live at the house or anything. It's a lot of family members that I talk to. And so those people will know like their voice, like, oh my God, yeah, that's grandpa talking or whatever. And so, and then they're able to like talk to each other and, and then whatever issues are, had to be said is said, and then everything is good. And so now in their minds, it's like, oh, it's just grandpa,
Right.
and then all of a sudden everything changes. And that's also the other important thing is to do the research, like get the past of the house, the land, everything around it.
I need to know everything. Some people don't. I need to know everything.
Right. I mean, you can't really know the exact answer unless you kind of know, and unless the more you know, the more you know. But like, for example, I know a lot of, just for like one of the episodes, I can't remember which one it is. This woman was, she kept tripping down the stairs. And so in her mind was just like, this ghost that's living here keeps tripping me and yada, yada, yada. They wanted us to get in there and get her out and all this other stuff. Well, of course, we investigate, we do all of that stuff. But during the research, we found out that she didn't die in the house. Like she sold the house and then she was in a nursing home probably for like 7-8 years or whatever it is. And she ended up passing over there. But the story and the rumor around town was she fell down the stairs and died. Like that was the rumor. So of course that's in the lady's head of, this lady died here from falling down the stairs and she's tripping me. So that's what it is. Like that's, so we had to tell her, you're tripping for other reasons. Like it's not, she's not here, she's somewhere else. But then after that, it was fine. So, again, it's teaching these people that are having issues, teaching them as much as you can, trying to figure out as much as you can, like the histories versus the rumors and whatever. Again, the more you know, the more comfortable you'll be.
You never know. We never know what we don't know.
That's right.
All right. I'm going to be back with the real tough questions later on, but I'm going to leave you to George right now. Take it away, sir.
Yeah, Shari, first and foremost, this is YouTube. You cannot be naked on screen during these interviews. It's not permitted.
Sorry,
So
I thought I was
put a top back. No, it's a little old trick for anybody that's on a different tab and just listening. They click back right away and go, oh, okay, let me come back here for a second. Hi, everybody. They were scrolling your Facebook. Welcome back there. I've got some questions in the chat that I'm going to get to in just a second. Are you open and willing to talk about these first events of your life that got you involved in the paranormal?
Yeah.
Would you do so for everyone?
Okay. So when I was younger, I experienced a lot of things, saw things, heard things, but I was always, I just always kind of closed myself off and, I didn't see it. I didn't hear it. It doesn't make any sense to me. So I'm,
What are we
Um,
talking about age-wise? How old were you when these started
oh, yeah,
happening?
like I just remember, like just being young. I know it was before 11, only because I lived in New York before 11. So I know it started way before that. Um, but I don't know exactly how old, but it was before that. And then kind of going through middle school, high school, playing with the Ouija board like everybody else. We all played with the Ouija board. And I'd never believed at the Ouija board, but I always got things to move. So whenever we were playing with it, it was just like, oh, move that, move that, move that. And like everything would move, whatever I would say, like just things were moving. And then friends and family would all be like, get the Ouija board out. We want to see this. So that's what we did. But again, in my head, I wasn't thinking ghost spirits. I wasn't thinking anything of that. I'm just like, whatever, it's a board and somehow things are moving. I don't understand. So I dealt with that stuff. But I really didn't get into it. I'm trying to think. It's like the mid 90s by the time I started getting into doing the research and figuring out like what the hell is going on. But prior to that, I did live in a house that there was nothing going on. And then all of a sudden, there is a lot going on. I don't know if we can swear. So there was a lot going on. And so, from, the lights turning on and off, doors opening and closing and, voices. And one night it sounded like somebody was downstairs and they took a glass, put it on the counter, and then you hear like ice going in there and stirring like they're making a drink or something. I mean, just odd things. Another night, my aunt was over here from New York, and she's walking up the stairs, and all of a sudden my door slams open, and my dog runs out, and I'm like, "What the hell are you?" Like I'm yelling at her because I'm like, "What the hell are you doing?" And she's like, "That wasn't me," and she was like 3 steps down from the top, so I knew it wasn't her, but I'm still yelling at her, and she goes, "What's your bird? It's hanging upside down? Is that normal?" And I'm like, I've never seen her hang out upside down. Like I have no idea. I've had her for like 5 years. Not once have I seen her hanging upside down. I don't know. Come to find out, I guess cockatiels, I guess, do hang upside down, but I've never seen it. But at the time, I was like, I don't understand. When we were talking about it, all of a sudden the birds flying around the house, because we're like, what the hell is that noise? And all of a sudden the birds like going crazy, flying around. I'm like, what the hell? Like we lock her up, every night, and she just walked by her and she saw it was locked, so she knows the cage door was shut and everything. So, okay, I go down there, I take the bird back in the cage. Then my aunt goes into my mother's room telling her what's going on, and all of a sudden all these things start flying out of my mother's closet. And it's just things like things like that happened for a while. And then but this particular night, I just got back home from my boyfriend's house at the time, who is now my ex-husband. And so, I got ready for bed. As soon as I get into bed, something grabs my ankles and holds my ankles down. So then I got up to see what it was. There was nothing there. And then they grabbed my wrist, put my wrist down to the bed. And then I tried to yell down the hall to my parents. And then, but I couldn't, like nothing was coming out of my mouth. I was trying to yell, but I couldn't. And then they put their hands over my mouth and then pushed my head down.
Jerry, Jesus.
And but like, it's weird because like I could even feel like the fingers, so it wasn't a pressure. It was like if somebody was actually grabbing you, and holding me down. And then again, like the fingers, I can feel the fingers like on my lips and everything and like push down. So as soon as that happened, a doppelganger of the boyfriend that I was dating, ex-husband, was right in front of the bed. And everything was him, like his hair, the clothes that he would wear, everything about him. The only thing that I couldn't see was his face. And so his face was like if you're like a clear, dark night at midnight when you're like looking at the sky. It was like that distant black look. That's all I can describe. So he walks around the bed, and he just like hovers over. I have no idea for how long. No idea. And then, so we're just staring at each other or whatever. And then he just got up, and then he started walking, and I can hear like the footsteps in the carpet. I heard the, his, like the thighs when your thighs are brushing when you're walking. So I heard that. And then the door opened up, and he basically glided out. He didn't have anything from his knees down. That's when I saw like he didn't have anything from his knees down, but he was solid everywhere else. He walked out, the door shut, everything was lifted. Out in the hallway was every place was dark, but where he was, it was a little bit brighter. So, in my room, everything was like, it was lit enough for me to be able to see what he was wearing, I guess.
Self-illuminating?
It was like, I honestly, I don't know because I'm trying to figure out exactly how I know the moonlight was coming in, so it could have just been like the moonlight type of thing so that I can see, because I can see everything about him. I just couldn't see the face because it was dark. The face was dark, but I can, like, the hair, the skin, like everything else was him. But in the hallway, so when the door opened, the hallway was all lit up, not bright like this, but like a dim bright. I don't even know. I can't even explain it, but like a dimmer, but it was lighter. And so when he went out there and then the door shut again, everything was lifted off of me, and then the light shut out, like turned out there. I don't know. It's so hard. It's so hard to explain. But because of that night, I was very nervous for every night after that. So for about a year, my lights were completely on. My closet door was like always open with that light on, because you don't want the closet doors shut because people could be peeking through, So like I kept the closet door open. The TV I had to have blasting because I didn't want to hear the footsteps or the legs or anything. I didn't want to hear that. So it was a long time that I had to sleep like that, because I didn't want any of that to happen again. But during that whole period was when I was starting to, like, in the 90s, so there's no internet stuff, so it's, you're just trying to find as many books as possible, or you try to talk to people as much as possible, but then you have to be careful of who you used to talk to back then, because
Sure.
So but that's how I got into everything. And then once I was I guess okay with everything, and not okay, but like enough to be okay, that's when I wanted to start to help other people that have gone through it, because it's like I didn't know if there were teams out there, I didn't know that there was actually people investigating, and there's teams out there that can actually go to your houses and stuff. I knew nothing about it. I just knew this is what happened to me, and it sucks. Like, the last thing I want to do is go to bed. It was every night was like, oh my God, I got to go to bed again. Like, it just gets exhausting, because like you don't want to go to sleep. Even going into the house was horrible. And I honestly think I remember the exact day that it all changed, because I used to have a gym downstairs. And so my whole process was, going to work or school or whatever, going downstairs, working out, taking a shower, going out for the night. Like, that was my whole routine. And then just one night, something happened, and the whole gym set was downstairs, like in the basement. It was like a full basement. So a lot of this was like storage, but I had my section. And all I remember is thinking is I froze. Like I, working I was working out fine. Then just all of a sudden I froze and I'm like, oh my God, like I've never had this, like feeling before. I don't understand what's going on. And you just have the feeling, like if somebody's next to you, you can sort of pick up a feeling of it feels like a child next to me, or,
Absolutely.
you know what I'm saying? At that time, I felt like it was like I'm short, but I felt like it was a guy that was taller than me. Like that was like the feeling that I was getting, like this big thing was just right in front. And I was like, I didn't know what to do. I just, I'm like, I don't even know. But when I just remember also looking up, because like the little windows in the basements, I just remember seeing a cat, like looking through the window too, which made me even, jump, whatever. It's a cat, but it was like on kind of all happening at the same time. And that night I was like, oh my God. So I just like ran up the stairs and I shut the door. I'm like, I don't need to work out tonight. Like I'm done. So I think that was the night that whole house kind of like changed. And I don't know, that you kind of question yourself of, did somebody come home with me? Like, I don't know. Like, I have no, people ask, do you have attachments? I don't know. I don't know. Like, I don't know if that person actually attached themselves to me and then I brought them home. I don't know. I don't have any proof of that. I have no idea.
I want to, because we have to go to break at the top of the hour. I want to ask you a question. I'll give you the break to think about it too. What would Shari DeBenedetti 2025, if she was given this case, come to a conclusion of what was happening during that time? I have my own opinions on it, but I want to hear, if you've thought back on it and evaluated it, what you think was occurring, because I mean, that's like 5 different TV movies with that kind of haunting going on. And I can only imagine, again, enduring it and going through it, one fraction of that. But the amount of things that you had occurred is just chilling. It's bone chilling. So I want to know where you would have gone if you went back in time where that person was having that occurrence right now. But we do have to take our break right now. And when we come back on the other side, we'll continue our interview with Shari DeBenedetti. You're watching Dead or Alive on the Dead or Full Spectrum channel. We'll be back right after this.
Hey members, the new KGRA DB app is now available on iOS and Android devices. Gain on-demand access to any KGRA DB programming. Download any show directly to your mobile device to listen or watch on the go. Go to the App Store and search KGRA DB.
As UFO reports come in from around the world, the Mutual UFO Network, MUFON, is there. We continue to explore new cases and build our massive database. We share our information with the world in a number of ways. If you would like to be part of our investigative team, you are always welcome. What could be more exciting than exploring the UFO question firsthand? Join MUFON, find your friends.
You're listening to the KGRA Digital Broadcasting Network. We provide unparalleled coverage of trending news in the world of ufology, cryptozoology, and paranormal phenomenon. Whether you're watching our video live stream or listening to one of our audio programs, you are getting the best from world-renowned researchers and hosts, guiding you through topics the mainstream won't touch. Miss one of your favorite programs? No problem. Head over to the members area at kgradb.com for access to our massive library of award-winning content. Make contact, stay connected. Only at kgradb.com.
And that's right. Each and every one of you guys have the opportunity to join us on Patreon. $3 a month. Dead Air Paranormal is the page that you want to subscribe to and check it out. Of course, we've got so many different things that are on there that you can enjoy hours and hours and hours and hours of video and tutorials, and you can make sure that you'll have a ton of fun, both with that and also when we do our town hall, which this next idea was kind of hatched during a town hall, but this is Ken's brainchild, and it has finally come to fruition. We are now on the precipice of genius. Ken, you want to talk about this coming up?
We're on the precipice of something. We talked a lot about putting some different programming on the show. And I'm happy to say that the first episode has been filmed, with another one coming up this week. But I have a teaser. If you're interested in this type of thing, I hope you like it. We love making it, but here it is. Hello and welcome to the premiere episode of Last Bite, a show where we honor the dearly departed and their culinary legacy. I'm Ken DeCosta, your host, and joining me today we have a very special guest. Hello, dear. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
What is your experience around the kitchen?
None.
Okay, well, this is going to be perfect then. Do you take science classes at all?
One time I did take a science class and I overheated a glass beaker and it shattered in my hand.
Oh, what could possibly go wrong?
Yeah.
Now, Ken, to define, what exactly are you doing there?
We're still trying to figure it out. Well, it came to my attention a while back that a great number of people, when they passed, had recipes that were etched on their tombstones that they would share with the world, their favorite recipes or things they were known for. And there are a great deal of them throughout the country, really. So in order to honor them and to celebrate what they've given us, we are going to recreate those recipes just as they are put down. We'll tell you a little bit about the people who contributed them and left them to us. So I think we have the first episode turned out really well. And the recipe was fantastic. I would probably use one less cup of sugar, just as a spoiler alert, because if you're a diabetic and you ate one of these, just go and lie down somewhere.
Yeah.
I saw that stick of butter and I was like, oh my God.
Oh,
There
yeah.
will be a follow-up series after this season of Last Bites has concluded, and it will be Paranormal Exercise Bike. They're going to put on some weight with
Yeah.
this food.
We have to mind our P's and Q's. But Cody, Satori, going forward, they're going to be part of this because they had such a good time. Cody behind the camera. He makes an appearance a little later on in the episode, but we're very happy with it, and we've talked about it for so long, and it's nice when a plan comes together for a change. So, last bite. So in the next couple of weeks, we'll be debuting it on Dead Air Full Spectrum. Hope you like it.
Important to hit that reminder bell, guys, most definitely. Shari DeBenedetti has joined us and has left us at the end of the first hour with an absolute horror story that is called her life. When she was very young, the origins of her interest in the paranormal field. And I've got to ask now, Shari, what I asked just prior to the break. That situation, were that a case presented to you, making your first summation, not even an investigation yet, running the equipment, trying to communicate, but just in hearing what you told me, but from another person, what would be your initial evaluation? Because I'm curious to see if we're on the same page.
So basically, if somebody came to me telling me that story, what would I do? Is that
Yes.
your question? Okay. I'm just thinking that Philly was 24, so my head was on that for a second.
You had an internal yay.
Yeah, I was just like, woo, and then I was trying to pay attention. Yeah, so I would, well, I guess, I mean, you know what, I do all my investigations kind of the same way of, asking the person of exactly everything that's, going on. I would think that, I think my initial thoughts were it wasn't anybody that had anything to do with the house. I guess only because in the beginning, like
Right.
nothing was going on, and then all of a sudden something. So I would think of maybe it's attached to somebody here. Maybe they just be having to walk around and come into the house and happen to like us. So he's stuck around. I don't know. But I mean, I would really, I just go through the same things that I go through.
So no predisposed.
Well, I try never to, like my thoughts of, like I said, like before, like thinking about what I just told you with all of that, to me, my first thing would be, okay, well, it probably doesn't have to do with the house. It probably, like has nothing to do with that. God, I can't think too much. Yeah, but then I would just listen to everything else that they were saying. Unfortunately, we left the house before I was actually before I can actually go in to investigate, before I felt comfortable, I should say, to investigate. And nobody likes to investigate their own home. But so my first thoughts would probably have been that it has something to do with somebody there, that it just took a liking. I guess starting with me, because I had a lot of the experiences. However, even when I wasn't there, my mother, unfortunately, had a lot of stuff that happened to her. So then I would think, okay, well, it wasn't, you know why? Because there's so many things that had happened. So I'm trying to kind of group it all together.
Right.
And I wouldn't, so it didn't really have to do with me personally. So yeah, I have experienced a lot of it, and it sucked. And I was the only one who was, like down. But then also a lot of stuff happened to my mother, also, because if I was out, and then if my father's out of town, all this stuff my poor mother would have to deal with all this crap alone.
Well,
Um,
follow where I'm going with this. At what age were you when this activity stopped?
Well, I moved out of the house. It was always going on until I moved out of until we were leasing the house. We were renting the house. So for the first year and a half, there was nothing. For the second year and a half, it was awful. We moved out of the house after that. So I don't know what happened after that. They didn't follow me.
Okay.
So they're still there. I was in my 20s. I wasn't young.
But I was
I-
questioning as to whether or not it did fall into the category of poltergeist, if that
Right.
was
That's what I
something.
thought you were trying to. Yeah. No. I was in my 20s.
Okay.
And other people experienced it. I even like told my ex, the guy that was a doppelganger, I told him like, you need to come over to the house because like we can't sleep. We can't get any sleep. We're exhausted. So just at least if you like stay there, we might feel a little comfortable with like another person there. And 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, he's like, I can't, like, I gotta go. So even like he wouldn't stay there. My brother would always stay at his friend's house because he's like, I'm not staying in that house. So it was me and my mother and me, who stayed in the house mostly. My father is always on the road. So it was like,
Yeah, thanks, guys. Thanks.
yeah. My wife
Thanks
and
for the
my daughter, they're like a little,
thanks
yeah.
for the emotional support there.
Yeah. So like I said, there's kind of like a lot of different things that were happening. But they didn't go with us. They didn't leave with us.
Okay.
And you can't really ask the people that lived there afterwards, like, hey, was anybody held down in bed lately? Like, what's going on? You can't really ask them that. So I really don't know.
Which is tricky in today's environment and the culture that we have here in the paranormal, that God forbid that activity continued after you guys moved out and the next renters called upon XYZ Paranormal, who comes in and says, it's a demon and you're possessed. And then you just, it's a crapshoot.
Yeah.
As a residential client, when you're reaching out, and I just dealt with this with computers. I reached out to somebody, turned out he was a sham artist, and I called the second person. He said, no, dude, you didn't have a virus, you didn't have this, you didn't have that. Got me set up beautifully. But that's the same situation. You could have an infestation and somebody tells you don't, or vice versa, simply due to the fact that they are in it for the dramatics of it and not for the assistance of the homeowners.
Which that's nowadays what everything is.
Yeah.
It's entertainment, dramatics. These people that are all of a sudden in the paranormal world, the paranormal experts, all they want to do is tell everybody how wonderful they are. Can we swear on here?
Go ahead.
Okay. So they're bullshitting all of their titles and all the crap. Oh, I've done this, I've done that, I've done this and that. Well, you know what? Prior to 4 years ago, you've done nothing. You did absolutely nothing. It's just in this world today, you could say anything, you could give anybody anything, and people are going to be like, oh, you're so wonderful and you're an expert. But they're not. It's just they just want the title. Yeah. And they just, they're looking for the money. They're doing conventions, but you're not doing anything. You're telling people you're doing stuff, but you haven't done any investigations. You haven't helped anybody. There's all these fake psychics and mediums out there nowadays that are bullshitting people. It's just attention and money grabbing crap that is unfortunately all out there today. And then us who were like doing the right thing and doing the real thing and actually investigators, and people are believing them over us. It's like, what kind of a world are we living in?
I think the thing is, Sherry, we're still doing things under the radar the way we started out. Everything wasn't for public consumption.
Right.
And even though, we do this show, do some other things. We have fun doing it. But as far as the things we do out there, we're still holding it. We do them under the radar.
Oh
You know,
yeah. Oh yeah.
we don't film in someone's house,
Yeah.
and
Most of it's
we.
confidential. Absolutely.
I had a story for you, and I wanted to run this by you. Have you ever had anything like this? We recently did a case here in Rhode Island where we discovered that the poltergeist type activity in this house was not caused by a living person or an agent, but by turmoil on the other side. This was a case where apparently, and I'm talking a house from the 1700s, massive. And what had happened there is apparently one of the guys who moved in, he didn't build it, but when he moved in the 1800s, his wife passed away. 6 years later, he married her younger sister. So on the other side, all of this nonsense is going on. And it's our understanding that whenever it happens, that's when the pillows start to raise and the furniture starts to go crazy. You ever heard of anything like that?
You said when it starts to happen, is there just like a specific time where everything happens? Like, is it a residual thing or is it intelligent?
It is a residual action, but there is an awareness in their realm of why it's happening. It's like, oh yeah, that's Betty and Ann, and they're fighting with Zebediah.
But who knows the story? Like, how did they come up with the story? How did they know about this whole story? And also,
Cody and Satori were on the case.
Oh, okay.
So what we did is cross-reference everything. And it was one of those deals that nobody knows where we're going. Yada, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And I thought that was one of the more fascinating things. It may be common, but it's the first time I've known it. Apparently, the sisters are fighting over there. And when that kind of turmoil happens, it affects the physical realm of this house. Furniture starts shaking and things like that. So we were like, we don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
So then when we started looking into the names and things like that, it made perfect sense. But
oh, wow.
I guess it doesn't have to be a living agent.
Right. We don't always know what is going on the other side. So we can come up with whatever we can, as much as we can, but we don't always know what the whole story is. Like we don't know what was going on in the 18th century at February 20. You know what I'm saying? Like we don't exactly know. So we can try to figure out what's going on as much as we can. But, so I could have come across it, but no, I've never heard of the spirits fighting on the other side to make it, because usually it has to do with the person living there, them
right.
pissed off at the person that's living there to try to figure out what's going on. But yeah, no, that's interesting.
Well, that's why we keep doing it, because every once in a while you run across something that I've never heard of.
Yeah.
Before. That was a new one.
Yeah. That's why I keep telling, like, I can't stand these people who they have an answer for everything. They call themselves, they know everything about the paranormal world. And it's like, no, we're all still learning. There's nobody that knows everything. And it's just,
Exactly. So that's why, people need to kind of pump the brakes, because if you're not continually learning something, my wife is flashing the score to me over here.
Yeah.
34-0. Okay.
Oh my God. Wow. I mean, not to even get a field goal is just crazy. I'm thinking maybe because Vegas was like, okay, we could lose a lot of money because everybody went to the other side. What
I do know is that this is a better halftime show over here.
That's
so
right.
Before I get into these 10 questions I'm going to ask you, I have one more about investigating. How from the time you started and got into this to now, has using equipment sort of not as important as it used to be, and you're not that burdened by it, or do you still like your equipment?
You mean like some of the devices that I use or
Yeah,
recording?
in other words, when we started, we bring like 5 Pelican cases into a house, and now I've got a little backpack over here with, because half of this stuff doesn't work, and it's all, you know what I mean. But you kind of learn. So
Right.
how have you kind of evolved there?
Yeah, same thing. Okay, now so I do have like my little go-tos. There's a lot of things that we try to learn over all these, with all the different equipment. What works, what doesn't work. What you like, what you don't like. A lot of people still use things that I don't agree with. I personally don't agree with. I think there's way too many false positives going on, but in those people swear to God that it's working. I don't like it, but to each their own. So there's a lot of that stuff that I don't use. I've tried it because you do want to try everything out there just to see what it's about. And so no, I have about a handful of things, and I guess it depends on, like I was saying before, it depends on what the story is of who's supposed to be in there or whatever. I'll kind of gear it towards that. The older the older people, I would use something else, but the kids, I would use something else. So, and you never know who you're going to be trying to contact. You never know what they're going to be comfortable using. I had one a few months ago where I had all these things out, and it was just nothing, absolutely nothing. I was working with a medium friend of mine. And so she's like, well, let me just try this, because we were just trying everything. Now, the other one night that we went there, all of our devices just like just great. We had great activity. Everything was great. The next time we went there, nothing. Like a device went on. We're like, what's going on? So, but again, working with different people, everybody has their different energies, who likes what. It's just like the living. You walk into a room, if you don't like somebody's energy, you're like, ugh. And, they're the same way. They might not like us, and not a big deal, whatever. So she tried her stuff. And so she was getting this information, and she's like, he's saying he doesn't want to touch any of this stuff. Like, get the stuff out of my house. I don't want it. This is ridiculous. And then you think about it. Okay, well, what 80-year-old wants to go and be like touch it, you know what I'm saying, and touch these little toys?
Don't worry, it won't hurt you. Pig that, it won't. I don't believe you.
So, so my God, you can understand. I'm like, all right, fine. So we put all of our equipment into the other room, and then he wanted us to go into this room. All right, so we all go into there. And so I think a couple of people brought some stuff over there, and he's like, no, like nothing. I don't want any of this stuff. The only thing that he would allow was the FLIR, the thermal camera. It was the only one that he wanted. And so, all right, fine. So everybody else put out, and so then we sat around, and then he was talking to her. She's a medium. She's using her dowsing rods. Something, again, I don't use it. The people use it, whatever. It happened to work with this event. And so he wanted me to go. So the dowsing rods were telling me where to go. Like, he was telling me where to go by pointing with these rods and stuff. And I'm like, okay. So I go in the back corner, and supposedly like he was next to me and whatever. So I'm just kind of standing there. But the kid with the thermal was like, oh my God, there's somebody sitting next to you. And I'm thinking, oh, maybe somebody's standing next to you. So I'm like, okay. So I'm like trying to do this. And then he's like, no, lower, lower, lower. And I'm like, listen, I'm short, but this guy can't be like, I don't think this guy's gonna be this short. And then, so then somebody else came around, and then I went to go and see, and it looked like he was sitting down. So then you have this figure of this person, like, sitting down right there. So I'm just saying there's different ways of communicating. And so sometimes the devices aren't, like nobody wants to touch them. And I get it. I understand. So then here's a recorder and here's a video, but it's a little bit harder to try to have that communication because you can't really hear their answers. So,
it's the language, and I guess you get this from experience. Investigators who come in and say, if you could say something to us or move that, it would be really cool. And it's like they have no idea what's cool. They think it's like cold or something, It's like you gotta, when in Rome, you gotta speak that language. If you're using a recorder, I don't know, unless they passed away in 2017, try to equate it with a phonograph. You know how you can hear a record on you had phonographs, just try to get a touchstone there someplace.
I mean, it's when you walk in and you're placing these things, it takes a while for you to tell somebody about this, like what it does, how it's going to help the two of us. It's not going to hurt you. Look at me, I'm touching, like it's not going to, I mean, you have to have a conversation, even if it's nobody there, like, you have to have a conversation with whoever so that they can understand all about it. Like, that's like somebody coming into your house and somebody's bringing some like big machine and then like, touch it. It's like, you're not just going to touch things.
I'm thinking of the places that 50,000 people have investigated, and you come in with the same equipment, and they're just like, I'm so tired of this shit already. I am really,
Same questions, the same thing, do something. And right, like, how would you like it if somebody came into your house and started saying, do this, touch me, touch, like, it's like, it is really strange what we do.
Make a noise, move something. It's like, all right, the last time we had you on a couple of years ago, we gave you some questions. I gave you some questions that you gave me hell for, because in the middle of it, you said, this has nothing to do with the paranormal. I have now worked it out to the point that I'm willing to have you back on the show. So,
it took a couple of years, but
all right, so I have some questions for you, but these all have to do with the paranormal. I've learned my lesson.
Wow. No, I told you it doesn't have to be paranormal.
I know, but it was just too much work. Okay, first question. Have you ever been so startled during an investigation that you accidentally ran faster than you thought possible?
No. I thought you were going to say that you actually peed, but no, neither of them. I didn't do either of them. Yeah, okay. No. You get excited. It's not scary. It's excitement.
Okay. My next question. What is the weirdest or most ridiculous explanation someone has given for a paranormal experience? Like if someone has you, okay, tell me your story. What is the most ridiculous thing that you ever heard?
Oh my God. Well, I know the ending to this, but when somebody was telling me that, actually it's happened a couple of times when they're telling me all these things that are going on, and it's really not, I don't know how to explain it. These people would actually fall asleep in front of me, and then they wake up, and whatever happened, they're telling me, oh my God, that's what happened. Oh my God, look what they just did this. They just did that. And I'm like, no, you did it. You were sleeping. So it's like the scariest, and not like in a scary, but like it's, yeah. So when things like that happen and it's very difficult to deal with it and you can't really give them the correct answer because they don't know that they were sleeping.
Right.
They really think paranormal stuff is going on. That's usually that I don't like. That's hard. That's difficult to deal with.
All right, question next. I've got some here, but I'm gonna like pick the juicy ones here. If ghosts had social media, what platform do you think they'd be most active on?
Oh God. Oh my God. That is
X, Instagram, Facebook.
I was, I don't know. I would say OnlyFans.
Christ.
I don't know.
It would be. Hey, I've seen ghosts in bottles sold on eBay. So,
Right.
all right, if you had to be haunted by a celebrity ghost, what celebrity ghost would that be and why?
Celebrity ghost. Celebrity ghost. If I was going to be haunted, I don't know. I usually always go with Elvis for some reason. I'm really not sure. Yeah. I don't really have a reason. I never really thought about this before. But like if somebody says we're, like celebrity, I always go with Elvis for whatever reason. I don't really know.
Elvis.
I don't know. I don't know.
Okay. If you could give Yelp reviews to locations, haunted locations, who would get your highest Yelp rating and who would get your lowest? Lowest doesn't have to mean that the place sucked. It could have just been a bad night or.
No, I can't really answer that because people would get upset with me if I ever said anything.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So you just
What's your point?
Piss off people. They're gonna be mad at me. Oh my gosh.
You want to just stick with best rating?
I'll probably. Oh my gosh, there's a lot. The Mine. I just recently did the Mine, which was
There it is again.
What?
I keep hearing from everybody the mines.
Yeah.
Tired
It just great activity down there. Of course you have the penitentiaries and so there's always activity in all of those locations. But you know what, I think almost every time I go into any of those locations there's just always so much going on. No matter if you're there for a day or 5 days, I feel like there's just always stuff going on. So I think there's no particular, I don't want to be too specific, but like those 3 big things, there's usually
There's certain things like that, whether it's an asylum or penitentiary or theaters. Theaters are another one.
Yeah.
And I guess it's just big personalities, people who the roar of the crowd or whatever.
I remember when we went to, I'm sorry, the Collingwood Arts, something like that. It was on one of the episodes. Dave and I, we heard a full-on musical. It was so amazing, and it didn't really show well on TV, or you couldn't really hear it well on TV. But when we were standing there, it was like a good 10 seconds of women and men singing and everything else, and it was like, oh my, it was incredible. It was like that I've never had that experience ever, and we just couldn't believe. We were thinking people were around here talking and everything. I'm like, oh my God. Yeah, it was pretty amazing. So yeah, theaters are huge.
Okay. And my final question, I'm going to bring George back in here. The other thing I wanted to. Yeah,
I noticed he came back in for a second when the OnlyFans came in, but yeah, and then he left again.
The OnlyFans. You ever tried to bribe a spirit to communicate with you? Be honest.
Yeah.
Have you ever promised them something, or we're going to leave something?
Well, you know what? I do that for children. I have I always bring toys and everything, like I bouncy balls that light up and everything. I always have something for the children. So like, hey, if you can move this, or if you can throw this back to me, you can keep it. So I have left things in areas.
See what I mean? We all do that. Like, I'm going to ask you one final question. If I ask you this question, I won't bother you anymore. And then if you get a response, it's like, oh yeah, I'm going away now.
No.
I mean, food, drinks, who knows? All right. Time to bring.
Uh-oh. Don't hear you.
Yeah, he cut out. Your audio just went. Perfect timing, Ken. Check that microphone. Yeah, you're out right now, buddy. You look back on it. Shari, I've got to ask you, we kind of touched on this a little bit earlier about social media and what it's done, the way that it's twisted this beloved field. So you're coming across individuals, whether it's at a con, whether it's just in a social environment, and they want to experience paranormal. They want to, they're not claiming they had anything about it, and they're not saying I just don't believe in it. They want to experience it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think as we get older in this field, as we've done countless locations and had incredible experiences, the evidence side of it, now it's different for you for television, because through television, it's a two-dimensional media. You can't really, explain the chills or the cobwebs or anything of that sort. So it's got to be captured some way, shape, or form. But those personal experiences are precious, cherished moments. Even those that are startling, not scary, but startling,
Right.
are still precious. What location would you recommend out there? What location would you say definitively, if you go here, you are going to have a paranormal experience? And I know that's a stretch because there's no guarantees, but the
Yeah,
most probability.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely wouldn't tell anybody, definitely, because as we know, it doesn't always happen. But like I said, like I was just talking about the
You're saying the mines, but mines are pretty generic. What do you mean? Where is it?
I was particularly talking about the Sterling mines in New Jersey.
Okay.
That had a lot of residual, but also visually it was amazing. Definitely, I mean, just constant voices. But and unfortunately you have like the yelling and screaming and the residual sounds of the dynamite and everything, so it's in the field that we do, when we do this stuff, it is, if you like think about it, it's sad. You know what I'm saying? Like, people get hurt, people, died for whatever reason. But definitely Sterling Mine would definitely be one that I would recommend. But again, like the penitentiaries, like there's always, I don't know, with my experience, I've never been to a penitentiary or like a hospital or anything that nothing's happened. I've always had something happen. So I think like if you want to experience things, I'd say, yeah, you can go to these bigger places that have just so much of that, whatever energy is in there, to have those experiences, but try not to go with a lot of people either. Like you need to have your group small, and you need to be quiet and just let things happen.
Just simply be.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's all there is to it. Sterling Mine, is it accessible to the public?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Haunted tours and such as well?
They do have, yes, as far as I know. John at New Jersey Paranormal, John and Chris at New Jersey Paranormal, they do all those tours down there. So we just went down there recently. It was amazing.
No place at this point in time that you could think of where it's just too intense and I won't go back? Has that occurred to you yet?
No, because I want action.
Yeah.
You know, my like I just get bored of, okay, I hear voices. Okay, so somebody touched me. So, you know, like you do this for so long, you're like, okay, I need more. Like, I need more. Let's keep going. Let's keep, you know, like have things thrown. Like that's, you know, so I'm always looking for more. And you know, like I want more action. So yeah, wherever I can go is fine with me. There's no place. If I went to a place and like nothing happened and I just wasn't excited about the place or anything, yeah, I won't go again.
Right.
But otherwise, yeah, I'd go anywhere again.
Is
Yeah.
the end game for what it is that you do, that I do, Ken does, everybody that's in the paranormal field, um, repetition. Um, in a sense, what I mean is, you know, whether it's a location, whether it's a piece of equipment, whether it's a Cody and a Satori, whether it's um, a certain procedure in which we do things, that we can get consistency in our communication. Would you look at that as being the ultimate goal here? I mean, if you're looking for what happens after we die, I think we're literally chasing a ghost to get that kind of an answer. Whatever the rules are on the other side, that's something that just certainly doesn't seem to be presented to
Mm.
any of our investigators out there. But right now, we're in the middle of this muck of social media, where now it's just, you know, the scare factor, you know, and let's be dramatic so we can get our views and likes. You know, if we can get up to 500 people watching us, then we'll do this crazy thing. And we've lost our direction as far as that. But what is the end game in your mind for what we do as investigators?
Um, I mean, for me, it might not. I feel like it's hard to get further. I'm like, I guess maybe if I go out more and more and more, I'm not out as much as I used to be. Um, so my whole thing was going in and just trying to do whatever I can do, add things that I have learned from others, add that into the investigation, and then just kind of grow from there. But I'm not inventing equipment. I'm not, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm not doing that part of it. I'm having other people do it, and then I'll test it for, for what I do, and then I'll test it that way. But I'm not doing that part of the scientific stuff. So for me, I just kind of, I would like to learn something every time I go out, but you don't. You just feel like it's like kind of like the same scheduled thing. It's a different story, but a different investigation. And
Right.
like I said, you can try to learn different things everywhere you go, but again, I've been doing this for so long. It's like, how much more am I learning that I haven't 10 years ago? I feel like I'm doing the same thing. So I don't know if
Redundancy.
I don't know if I'm in a rut or if I'm not doing it as much as I can. And I'm not going to one place and trying all these different things. I'm going to different locations all the time. So to me, those locations have different things in it. So then I'm trying to do different things that have to do with that building and those people.
That's
So
interesting. I'm quite surprised that you don't have what we affectionately term as home base. And for
I don't
Ken
know
and Rise Up, it was Pain House. For me, it was Curse City. You didn't
if
have that redundant place to go back to? Oh,
I am just all over the place. The only places that I would do multiple times are, in people's homes, but I'm not going to go in there to do scientific experiences
yeah, you don't
in
have free reign.
people's homes. I'm not going to do that.
Right.
Yeah, we can do that to them. Yeah, there's no location where I can just say I can go and I can do anytime I want and I can try all these different things. Yeah, I could never do that. It was always different locations constantly.
Quite surprising considering your location. Yeah, there's so many places that have laid claims in your area there, and
The
either
problem
they're
is they don't
capitalists.
they don't want me to in this area. Um, they don't like ghost hunters. Ghost adventures is fine. Ghost hunters they don't like. You can understand the difference. So they don't want us to go in there and debunk and disprove that they're all full of shit.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
they,
yeah.
so I would ask a lot of people, yeah, I'll go in there. Now, first of all, I would not go in there and like, I'm not here to call you out. Like, I'm just going to go in and investigate. If there's nothing here, there's many places that I've been to that are the most haunted locations wherever. I'm not going to call you. Like, that's, like from my friends and family, if they ever said, hey, what do you think? I'll tell them. But I'm not going to blast it on social media like everybody does nowadays. Like, no, they're fake. Like, we went through everything and there's nothing there. I'm not going to do that to these people. But, so yeah, no local places will allow me to go in regularly. I have done events around here and I have places that I like that have had activity. So that's fine. So if you ever see me doing an event, I've been there. I did the event. I've investigated it myself. I made sure that there was legit activity because when I do an event, I want the people to experience. Like, I'm not there to fake, like whatever's here. Like, I want you to get up, look around, try to debunk it, try to disprove whatever. You do it. It's all, it's all you. It has nothing to do with me. I want you guys to experience real paranormal. So I always make sure I go into locations before. So I wouldn't, if I was going to do if I was going to do an event, those places, I personally had experiences at those locations because I wouldn't sell a ticket to a place that didn't, that's fake.
Yeah, but it's hard in this field because it's so abstract. It's hard in this field to be able to designate a place not haunted. If you go in and you capture one EVP, that validates. If there are multiple teams that go in and they all are capturing it, that really validates it. But if several teams are going in, nothing's happening, but the claims are there, then there's no way of knowing. No way of knowing. And someone could still ride that wave, whether it's the business owner, whether it's a manager, and just say, yeah, we have incredible experiences in this place. Well, we haven't captured any, so you're lying.
Right.
How can you say that? You can't.
Right. No, you can't. I mean, and people, like, you can give people what you think, but it comes and goes. And like we discussed, it's going to change person to person. It's going to change day to day, what time of day, who's that. You never know what's going to happen. We're not paying these people to put on an entertainment show for us. Like, you just never know. So, and like, that's what I was just talking to him about, was one of the questions was, I did an event at the location. One day, everything was going on. Like, all the devices answered every question and everything else. Everybody was experiencing it. The next event that I had, different people, of course, nothing. But it was like a different spirit altogether. He didn't like the equipment. Like, it's just a different atmosphere every single time you go in there with different people. So, yeah, unfortunately, you have a lot of nowadays, you have a lot of places claiming that they are haunted and claiming, all these things. And then you have some people behind them saying, oh, yes, they are. It's just money. People, that's all that they want. They don't care if it's fake or not. Unfortunately, I do hear that some people actually put crap in there, in the houses or whatever, just to kind of get that, the knockings or whatever the hell it is, the voices, the voice things and stuff like that. So unfortunately, people are doing that, faking it, and all these people are wasting their money into these places, and it's awful.
Exactly that.
It's the
We
industry.
are 2 minutes away from the end of the show. Ken, you had something to add?
Yeah, I'm hoping I'm coming through loud and clear now.
Yes.
Unfortunately.
Well, because of this, I actually got a text right at that time from the cable company. There's some outages, I guess. It was a heavy snow, so they tend to sit on the wires, things like that. But we're back.
That's right. Don't worry about that. Don will take care of all that.
Yeah, I got her out there right now. No, I was just listening to what you were saying, and I mean, there always has been an industry angle to this, whether it's tours, public investigations, and I don't have a real dog in that fight. That's fine. I think that as long as everybody isn't lumped in to that thing, because every time something is, public, it's like, oh, it's all about money. It's not always about money.
No,
Fortunately, Shari, we live in an outrage culture, especially on social media, where everybody it's this all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. Now it's mostly, I would say, like, it's, like you look at all the comments and all the good ones are like, like that's really nice. But that one bad comment, you're like, what the hell? So it's kind of that, you have so many awesome locations that you can go to that are legit, and a lot of places are needing funding, which absolutely, you give these places funding.
Understand.
They need help and all of that. Absolutely. And it just sucks for these, 2 to 3 people that are just out there, and all the money's just going into their pocket and all the fake crap. So that definitely, it sucks.
Well, my answer
Shari,
to
Ken, we're at the top.
Oh.
Yeah.
We got to go. But I want to thank you again for joining us tonight. Please don't hang up for the after show, but I would like to thank everybody for joining us tonight on Super Bowl Sunday. Appreciate you guys being there with us. And for our Town Hall Patreon members, we'll see you guys there tomorrow night, 8 p.m. But thank you all for watching. And those of you up north, hopefully the thaw comes soon enough. On behalf of Ken DaCosta, my name is George Lopez. We will see you guys next week. Have a great night. Thank you.
I see her rolling up, Uber black Cadillac, high heel boots and a sexy body full of tats. Baby's bad, oh baby's hella bad. After her there ain't no coming back. Wanna take a run at that. I think she's feeling me, turn it up a few degrees. My imagination of her body gets the best of me. Oh gosh, she's such a tease, bitten lips,